Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Torch Tales. I'm your host, Frank Vargas, aka Traveling Frankie. Here I am in Canada after the FabTech show, and man, do I have someone that's a big deal in social media, right? So I'm so excited not only to have him, it's Sunday, it's actually Father's Day in the US, so happy Father's Day to me. And happy
And in
Father's
Canada,
Day.
too.
It is the same day?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. See the things you learn? I'm so clueless in world culture. But Diesel, show me that. D'Souza.
Yeah.
Brother, Tig
Pleasure.
Devil, that is, Tig Devil, for everyone out there, and that's how we all know him. But Diesel D'Souza, it's his whole name. Now, Diesel, not only am I excited to have you for many reasons, I've been following you for a while. I ran into you in Tampa a couple of years ago at some crazy event that was happening. Yeah, that should have been a great, thing, but it wasn't. Let's just be honest, it wasn't. But at least we got this out of it, right?
Yeah,
we got to meet each other, and here I am now in Canada, in your neck of the woods. But I'm not sure how familiar you are with this show. So of course we know that you can weld. We know what you do, and we're going to touch into all that. But before we get into that, we really want to get to know who Diesel, who the Tig Devil is, and all that good stuff, right?
No
So I know that you are not from here, born and are you born and raised here in Canada, or?
No, I was born in Africa.
Gotcha.
And moved here when I was about 7 or 8.
About 7. So what part of Africa?
Kenya.
Kenya. All right, cool. And so your parents, of course, born and raised there.
No, so my dad's Portuguese.
Okay.
My mom's from Angola.
Okay.
Was a Portuguese colony.
Well, that makes sense, right? Yeah. Again, I told you guys, I don't know what I'm talking about. So now you come here when you're 7.
Yep.
Do you remember that at all?
I do. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
What was your first take when you first came to Canada? I was about to say the States.
So when we landed here, it was winter. And for the very first time, we actually got to see snow.
Really? As a family,
crazy.
Right? All of you. You're like, what is this white stuff, right?
Yeah, it was nuts.
Really?
And so when we came here, we were staying with a friend of my dad's.
Yeah.
And the first place we actually went to was a Pizza Hut.
Really?
Yeah.
Here's what's crazy. That was my first job.
Oh, yeah?
So my first job in South Beach, out of all places, it was Pizza Hut. I was 17 and worked there for about 3.5 years. Mm-hmm. So now you come here to Canada, right? I'm assuming I'm an immigrant as well. Your parents, the family, looking for a better future for all of you, right?
Yep.
And you guys come here, snow, winter, great. You guys go to a Pizza Hut. I'm assuming that there was no even Pizza Hut in Kenya, right?
No,
right?
no. We don't have anything like that.
So now you are here. Tell me when you first got to Pizza Hut. Like, what was your take? Like, were you as a kid had seen what pizza was yet, or?
No.
No.
We hadn't, no.
Really?
So it was so different, new. Even so, KFC was the second thing that we had, and it was just like, wow, what is this?
Really?
Yeah.
Now you are kind of Western civilization, right?
It, yeah.
That is amazing because those are the things that we take for granted nowadays, right? You know, it's like everywhere. It's like, oh, sure, let me just go in and have a bite, but something that small, it was so big, probably.
Huge,
as a kid, right?
Yeah.
So now you are here in Canada. Middle school. I'm assuming you started in middle school.
Grade
How was
school.
that transition?
It was hard. Coming from a different country,
Yeah.
not speaking English the best.
Oh, so good. You guys know I interrupt my guests, but I always come back to the original question. So again, relax. We're gonna get to it because this connects very closely to my story. Coming here, not speaking the language well. So you didn't speak the language well, but you spoke a little bit of English?
Yeah, so English was decent, but not like grammar and spelling wasn't the greatest.
Gotcha. So what's the actual language from Kenya?
It is Swahili.
Swahili. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Now, when you are here, 7, 8, 9, going through that whole process, learning the language, grammatically, kind of learning how to really use the words and all that, what was the hardest part? Was it getting adjusted to the weather? Was it getting adjusted to the culture?
The weather was great. It was just getting picked on, because you're different people.
Correct.
And when we moved here, we moved to a place in Canada called Oakville.
Okay.
Which is like the snob, rich
Really?
kind of town. Yeah. So a lot of I don't know how to say this, but
Say
white
just
kids.
okay, just the way
There
you're
was
thinking
no,
it.
there wasn't really
There was
diverse.
not that many of you.
Yeah, it wasn't very diverse. So I think we were actually the only skin colored
Okay,
in the class
Got
when I
it.
was there. So yeah, people didn't know how to react or know how to,
Yeah.
they were like, oh, this guy looks different.
Yeah, correct,
so
right.
I was always getting picked on, and
So see, guys, it's not just in the States that this happens. It's here in Canada as well, right? It's just part of the being different and people not being used to you. So picked on, did you feel that you had to defend yourself? Did you feel that did you get into any fights in the beginning?
when I was younger, I was more of a quiet kind of, take what you're
Whatever,
getting and
yeah.
just kind of go home and cry kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah. And then also because as we were here, my parents so when they first had a job, then they got a better job. So then we'd move to a better neighborhood kind of thing.
Okay.
And then switching schools again.
Started
it's
the whole thing all over again.
So yeah, so you made some kind of friends, and then 2-3 years later, it's like, oh, we're leaving here, we're going to a better neighborhood.
Yeah.
Now you got to make friends all over again.
Right.
And again, so you go through the whole process,
Again,
right?
But at least now you are a little bit older.
Older, yeah.
You've already been
But-
exposed to that first bullying, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But still handled it the same. Didn't really say much, and I was never really good in school.
Okay.
So I was always.
So that didn't help either.
Yeah. So I would sit in the back of the class and not pay attention. It wasn't the smartest thing to do, obviously.
Yeah, I
right?
think it's a combination of things. I think, not only because maybe it's not about, you were the smartest in school or this or that, but also because you felt really like an outsider.
Yeah.
So to really be in front, we've always been there, like, if I sit in front, I'm going to get asked, I'm going to get all these things. And I don't, no, not
You're
me.
gonna get singled out, right?
I'm just going to hide in the back and whatever. I'm not even here. So when do you think that things really started changing for you, that you said, okay, I can handle myself. I'm used to this. I'm good. Let's go.
So it actually didn't even happen until I got out of high school, to tell you the truth.
Damn.
Yeah, I was really late. So I took a lot of bullying.
Is that why you decided to start working out and become someone?
So I
kind of figured that. We're gonna get to that.
It kind of made me a tough, and that's why now the way I handle situations, that's just the person that
you became that they made you. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Huh,
not a lot
interesting.
bothers me now.
Yeah.
But I could snap pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, we all learn, and so after high school is when you kind of became, this is the person I'm going to be. This is my persona, and now, at that moment, you still had not created this persona, right? The
Yeah.
Tig Devil that we know now.
Yeah.
Because we see you and we're kind of like, oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
right.
right.
But you were not that guy yet.
No.
Right.
No.
So what were you into as in high school, coming out of high school?
So coming out of high school, got into the gym, working out, riding motorcycles,
Okay.
stuff like that, going to clubs. you
Okay.
know. And then
So
got-
you really get into the Western American Western side of things,
and
right?
then not just that, it was then when it was like, okay, you need to work to pay for your fun.
Oh, right, yeah.
Then it was like balancing security. I was a cook and became a chef at one point.
Really? What
Yeah.
kind of food?
Italian, French.
Really?
Yeah.
So you still
I worked all over fine dining in Oakville.
Really? All right. So you can still say that you know how to cook. Is that what you're
Oh,
saying?
I could cook very well.
Look at this guy. He is like, yeah, look at me. Of course I can. That's awesome. So as you are running through bouncing and cooking and all these things, did you think at that one moment that you had found something that connected with you yet? Or you were still just going through the motion? This is what I have now. This is what's paying the bill.
Yeah, basically it was just kind of just going through the motions.
Okay.
Having fun. You
Of
know?
course. Yeah. Now, so here you are. I'm guessing, I'm assuming, I don't know, that now you are in your mid-20s or so, give or take, early 20s, kind of coming out of high school, doing some of this stuff already. You still haven't found the one thing that clicked with you yet, did you?
Yeah. No.
No?
No.
Okay. So how did you get introduced into welding whatever welding was when you got
Okay, so
introduced
just a little
to it.
backstory. So
Thank you.
my dad, growing up, he always said, never become a welder because you'll go blind. Just that whole
Hold
back
on.
in the day.
So your dad already was telling you this. Is that because he knew people that had happened? Is that because he saw it as a kind
back
of
in
lower in the food chain
well,
kind of thing?
Back in Africa, those guys are welding without
know.
goggles
I
and
know, with a plastic
shields,
bag
right?
through it, yeah.
You know, just eyes open, going at it, right?
course.
So yeah, you're gonna.
It's the PPE of certain countries, right?
That's
Yeah,
it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, of course something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So he was always like, "Oh,
Just lack
never
of knowledge, just not knowing that.
And he
yeah.
was like, "Never become a welder. You know, you'll lose your sight." And that was the biggest thing.
But
sight.
hold on, why would he tell you that? Did you show any inclination that you wanted to be like? Why
No,
would
but
that comment
my,
come
my,
out
my,
of?
My dad was a mechanic.
Okay.
So working on cars, you'd have to do like back in Africa. It's not working on like you switch parts
Correct.
around.
It's not. It's same
It's
thing in
nothing
Dominican
like it.
Republic. You know, you don't have. You cannot afford to
Well,
go
you don't
buy a
even have
new
the
thing.
parts. The parts
You
are
have
not
to
readily
make one
available.
from scratch
Yeah,
or
you either
fix
have
the
to
whole thing.
rebuild it,
Yep.
or figure out something that's
Yeah.
going to make that car run. Right?
Exactly.
So when it came to mechanics, it was body work. You're doing welding. You're doing all kinds of things, right? Trying to fix.
Gotcha. Okay.
there
So
was
that's
no-
where his comment comes
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
even just seeing people welding the exhaust and stuff like that,
from. Got it.
he was always like, "Oh no, don't ever pick
So
welding."
did that play a part at all? Did you actually even
It
listen
did.
to that? Like, oh, maybe,
Yeah, it did.
Oh, thanks, Dad. No, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, so it did, which I kind of regret. There's not much I regret in my life.
Okay.
But that's one of the things
You
I do
regret listening to that early
listening to
on
him,
because you
yeah.
wish you would have been in this thing
Earlier.
Earlier.
Yeah,
Got it.
definitely.
I get it. I get it. So all right. So now you have in the back of your mind, I'm gonna become something else, not a welder, because Dad says, plant that seed, early on, and you're like, eh. So what happened?
So then I decided I was going to become a firefighter.
Okay.
Went to school. Not a lot of people know me. My whole thing is I learn hands-on.
Gotcha.
As soon as a book comes out or teacher's talking, yeah, it's like just shut
Got it.
down.
Okay.
So first semester was paid for. Everything was hands-on. I was doing great.
Yeah.
Second semester came. It was all book work.
Oof.
So I was in the
Give
pub.
me the hose again, please, and let me go water some things.
I was in the pub playing foosball through the whole semester, and then it was like, okay, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like just wasting
It's
money,
not me,
right?
yeah.
So left that, and by this time I was always working in restaurants.
Okay.
So I decided, you know what, let me go do chef training.
Alrighty.
Started that as well. First year again, hands-on. Great, killing it. And then
Now the
second-
theory comes in.
That's it. And it was like, ah man, like I just
Even
can't.
for this, even for me to cut an onion, I need to read a book.
Yeah, so I dropped out, just left that, didn't finish my graduation,
Gotcha.
right? And then working the restaurant life, you're working weekends.
Correct.
You're working the long weekends, holidays, working till
Everybody
12,
else is
1,
doing
2,
something
3,
else and you're there.
And everybody's having fun,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting in a restaurant, right? And I was like, I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I had a ton of fun working, because I had friends that were working there, and we'd have so much fun.
Yeah.
But the whole thing was, once I left the restaurants where my friends were,
Yeah.
and I was going on my own, trying to, get up the chain,
Yeah.
it became a little bit not so fun at this point, because now you're making it a career,
Correct.
and it's not.
It comes. There's a more strict
There's
lane.
a standard,
Yeah.
right. So it was like, I'm not having fun anymore.
Okay.
And I remember talking to who's my wife now.
But she worked at the restaurant or something,
No,
or she was at the school, or
No, so she's a teacher.
okay.
But I met her at a club that I worked at. I
Okay, got
I was
it.
a bouncer. That's
Alrighty.
how I met her.
Yeah. So you let her in. I get it. Yeah. Yeah.
So when I met her, I was in the restaurant industry, and she kind of saw like I wasn't very happy, and the time that we were spending together was minimal.
Yeah.
Wasn't on the where everybody's going out to have fun, right?
Gotcha.
So I said, you know what? I need to make a change.
Okay.
So what I did was, I said, let me go into a machine shop or something, because I always loved working with metal. Like, it was something in my head, like,
Gotcha.
it's fun. This looks fun.
Especially
right?
because you knew that you were a more hands-on kind of guy.
That's
so
right.
I want something that I can touch,
That's right.
fix,
Yeah.
twist. Yeah.
So I went, applied, and here the problem is they're like, oh, before you get hired, you have to have so many years experience,
right? Yeah. How do you get that if no one hires you,
That's
right?
it. So either you go to school again, which that
Yeah.
was an option for me. That's not
Yeah.
happening. So I went on YouTube, looked at some of the machines that were being run, and then went into did a resume, kind of just bullshit.
Faked it. No, fake it till you make it. Who hasn't? Who hasn't? Yeah.
So put some stuff, I worked here for a short amount of time,
Yeah.
looking to grow. So somebody hired me, and I would just say, they'd say, oh yeah, so you've worked on a CNC, blah, 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 on a lathe. Oh yeah, a little bit, not much. I have. But so I'd go home every day on YouTube and just try to figure out, like, okay, what does this do? What does
that mean?
What are the terminologies, right? They were at this time they're talking about G code, which doesn't even exist anymore. I don't think so, unless you have the older machines. So kind of got the terminology down, and then just every time I went somewhere, the best thing I did was I always had a notebook.
Recited the words you've read.
No, so I would say, hey, I've worked on a machine like this, but everything was different. So can you show me how to work this machine? And of course, yeah, they'd be like, we'll get someone to
So
train
at
you on.
least when they heard you speak, you had the terminology down.
Yeah.
The words are like, oh yeah,
So they kind of thought I knew what I'm talking
yeah.
about, but realistically, I've never really touched a machine. So
I like this.
so then as they were teaching me, I would write every single thing, draw pictures.
Gotcha.
So that's the way I work is even at the place I'm working at, everything's taken, so if I have a setup that I've done, I take a picture of it, and it's got to be the same all the time. So it's kind of a little bit of what's that word?
Photo memory,
When you have to always have something the same, it always has to be done the same way.
repetitive.
It can't change. There's a word, anyways.
If it comes back, we'll let you guys know. Yeah.
So I would draw pictures of how everything was set up, and anything that I used, like if it was a piece of metal to put as a height.
Okay.
I would mark that piece of metal so I knew for the next time if I had that job come along, I just go and grab that, put it underneath. I look at my picture. This goes here.
So it's how it's almost like you had little samples always between pictures and really.
Yeah, and so it also makes it faster because in a machine shop when you're setting up stuff, sometimes you have the job 2 months later.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to figure out, okay, what did I do last time? What did I use to
measure or whatever? Yeah.
And then you're sitting there looking for a piece of material and stuff. No, for me, it was like, oh yeah, go in my book. Perfect. Go this. Dial was here. Dial was there. Boom, done, right? Where other people are taking 10, 20,
Correct,
half an hour to try to figure this out.
Yeah.
So that was one of the good things. And as I was learning the machine, like I said, I would write every single thing down, what this button does, draw the machine out, right?
So you had your own instruction manual.
Yeah, basically
I
learned from people that were working there for a long time, knew the machine, right? And I just kept doing that to every job. So once I learned everything at this job, then it'd be like, okay, it's time to move on.
Yeah.
More experience.
So now you are at the machine shop. You're doing these, the CNC thing, and so far you still haven't developed the arc. You still haven't really crossed the path to the going
there.
blind, right?
Yeah.
Now, had you started already developing your persona, your look now, the way you look? You had already the shave, the mohawk, and the tats.
The mohawk has changed.
Okay.
So before it used to be a little bit wider than.
Okay.
But always the same blonde hair or silver.
So why that look? Because I'm assuming that this is not your original look from.
As a kid.
So when did this look of this is who Diesel's gonna be? When did that happen?
This look, when I was, I would say 25.
25?
Yeah, around there. When I was doing security, when I really got into the clubs. Just kind of trying to look mean so you don't have to deal with... I used to be a really small guy.
Yeah.
Even when I was doing security. So I was always fighting.
So you needed to add a little layer to...
Yeah, kind of, I
don't want to mess with that guy.
Sort of, yeah. But the thing was, it was like, even still, it was like, every time I had a shift, I was guaranteed a fight. Guaranteed. Where I was looking at all my other friends, I'm like, why are these guys just, nobody starts with them? So they're like, okay, you know what? You need to get bigger.
Yeah.
So that's when I started.
So it's like, so I guess as the customers were coming in or whatever, they would look at all the bouncers, all the guys like, yeah, I'm gonna pick that guy. He looks the smallest, so I'm gonna go after it.
That's it. And they would get messed up.
Oh, that's too funny. All right, so now you acquire the look, for that era, for that specific thing that you were doing at that time. So now, machinist, you're there. What happens? What came next?
From there is when I got to the place I'm working at currently.
Okay.
I've been
so
there
which means you've been there how long?
9 years, going on 10.
Got it.
So when I got in there, it's a machine shop. And they have a little weld section.
Okay.
Which, before I got there, it wasn't like a serious. It was just kind of like whatever little thing needs to get done.
Just tag
go
it.
Do it really quick and out it goes, sort of thing, right? When I got there, I saw there was things that needed to be repaired, which they were kind of throwing out, or
things like machinery that they had.
no. So we have like idler arms.
Okay.
So the place that I work at,
Yeah. What do they do?
our biggest contract is Defasco. I don't know if you know who that is.
No.
ArcelorMittal.
Okay.
So it's a big steel factory here in Hamilton. So we repair all their heavy equipment.
Okay.
And I was seeing like the repairs that the one guy that's certified welder was just kind of just half-fasting it.
Gotcha.
And
So it was about quantity, not quality?
Yeah, kind of thing. And I was watching him do it a few times, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
And of course, never picked up a gun.
So what process was it?
It was MIG.
MIG.
Yeah, MIG.
All right.
So started off with MIG, and never touched it before. Just trying to go.
Did you actually put a mask?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
All right, got
Yeah.
it. So you see the gun, like, I think I could probably do equal or better. So let me go try this, and you grab and you start running that beat.
Yeah.
What happened?
It looked like shit.
Okay,
obviously.
figure. Thank you for being honest. Yeah. Okay.
So, and at that point, I was like, oh, I like this. Like this is something I could kind of get into.
Okay.
So from there, it was like, okay, I'm gonna start doing all these repairs myself, and then these guys don't even have to come back here. And from doing it repetitively every time, and then not just that, it was like I didn't know anything about the machine settings.
Gotcha.
So the way the machine was set, the way
whatever it was,
set
that's how you were using
That's
it.
how I was using it,
Yeah.
but it was not right.
So it wasn't right from the beginning. So even the other guy was not setting it up right.
That's right. Yeah. So
Got it.
So once I started to play around, and it wasn't even at the point where like I was asking anybody.
Yeah.
It was just okay. Here, let me
What does
twist
these
this.
do? Yeah.
Let me twist this. Go full this way, weld, full that way, and see what the difference is.
Yeah.
Then try to match in the middle, kind of thing, right? So did that for the longest time till I got to where okay, this looks decent now.
Okay.
This is how we're gonna go. From there, then we picked up the stick welding.
Okay. When you say we picked up the stick welding, what does that mean? They already had it, or different kinds of things came in that needed stick welding?
I just wanted to get into it. So I said, okay, well, we have electrodes.
Okay.
Stick welder's there.
Yeah.
Let me go at it, right? So I started doing some of the stuff with stick welding.
Okay.
Again, at first, looked like shit.
Messed up
obviously,
quite a
right?
few sticks. Got it.
And then after years and years, I just got decent.
So now slowly you became somewhat of the welder there?
Yeah, so once I took that role on, then they were like, okay, well, let's get you certified then. You can just do it all, right? I was like, yeah, sounds good, right?
Yeah.
So,
all right, so how did they get you certified? What's that process?
CWB is just in-house.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. So now you become the welder, you become certified for them. Did the kind of jobs, the quantity and the quality went up?
Yeah, so we were super busy, like, so busy that they had to hire a helper to help me. So at that place, I do machining, welding, and mechanical.
Okay.
So now when a part comes in, I'm the one who has to disassemble it,
Gotcha.
figure out what's wrong with it, and then go from there
Whatever,
if it needs
Any extra work,
grinding, whatever. So I was doing the whole process, right?
Got it.
So then I was like, Defasco came in. They're like, hey, man, this is taking too long. You're only one person.
Yeah.
What do you need? And I said, well, tell them I need a helper. to take things apart, and I could just
Right.
repair them.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to help her in, and
All right.
that's how it became.
Gotcha. So now at this point, now you do consider yourself a welder. While that was happening after you got certified, they saw and you getting all this extra work. So now in your mind, okay, I'm a welder.
Yeah.
So do you see a welder over being a machinist? Do you see a welder over being something else? So at that company, how do you see yourself more than
A welder over a machinist, yeah.
Okay, all right. So now you are hooked on the spark. Now you are okay. I'm getting paid to do this. They believe in me. They, I've been here 10 years. Why the art, and how did that come about?
Okay, so I don't know if you know a guy named Mattia Bros. He passed away
No,
a few
I
years
actually
back.
don't.
So,
Is he from here?
no, Italy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so somehow, I didn't even have Instagram.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. So good. So you didn't have Instagram because you're very engaged in social platforms, especially Instagram and all that. So, but before we get to that, so yeah, so this person from
Was on
Italy.
Instagram, yeah.
Okay, so you had just opened your Instagram.
I had, yeah.
And you were looking for welding things.
No, so somehow he came up on my feed, and I was like, oh man, that looks super cool. I've always been artistic. Growing up, I would make my own Christmas cards, birthday cards for
Really?
people, like everything. I've always been artistic
Gotcha.
that way, right? So when I saw this, I was like, wow, this is super cool. How did he do it?
So he was doing TIG art.
TIG art, yeah.
Okay, all right.
So I was hooked right off the bat. Messaged him, started talking to him, and he said, get a welder, go at it. So I said, okay.
Okay.
You know what? I actually talked to my work first, and I said, hey, do you guys mind if I go buy the welder for the company?
Yeah.
I'll buy it, but let me weld TIG here.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, why not? It's a win-win for
Right.
them,
Correct.
right?
Right. No. Yeah.
So I bought the welder, practiced a little, not a little bit, a lot. I only got to weld every Saturday for about 3 to 4 hours.
That was like
TIG.
your personal thing.
Yeah.
Now, when you see this guy in Italy and you go like, wow, that looks cool, and you go to work and you say, hey, I want to do this, and they say yes. Were you thinking of what exactly for the end goal? What was the end goal when you got that machine? I just want to create cool things too, so I can just release all my artistic side, or were you thinking I'm actually going to sell, or eventually I'm going to try to sell some of these things and make money?
Honestly, to tell you the truth, it never even crossed my mind to sell anything.
Okay.
I was kind of doing it just for fun.
Okay.
It was, wow, this looks cool, I want to try it,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Gotcha.
So I spent the money just to kind of,
Okay.
there was no
Learn
plan.
by fire, yeah.
Yeah, there was
literally.
no plan, there was no, yeah, you know what, I'm going to make a business out of this and
Yeah.
try to make some money. That was
Gotcha.
not even a thing.
What was that first machine you bought?
It was Everlast.
Do you still have it?
I do, yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Do you still use it?
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now you are looking, how long did it take you, do you think, from that first piece of crap you created to what you do now?
How long did it take?
Yeah, when did you
It
think,
took me
what?
a couple of
wow,
years.
I look good. That looks decent now. I
Yeah,
can
it
actually
took me a
proud
couple
of that
years
one.
because, again, I was only TIG
time you were
welding
spending.
2 or 3 hours on a Saturday, right?
Okay.
Which was frustrating because then I would see other people on Instagram like, how are they getting this? Why is it so
Yeah.
perfect? Like
So clean,
and
so neat.
I got to a point where I actually got so upset, lost my shit, and I remember the day
I'm
it was
done.
just like, fuck, just threw the torch,
Really?
and that was it.
Wow.
I'm done because it took so long and it seemed like I wasn't getting anywhere,
Gotcha.
right? And then it was like, okay, no. Next day come in, or next weekend.
Well, at least it was just a few days of a mental break.
Yeah. So and then the next weekend I came in, I was like, okay, let's forget about what happened.
Yeah.
Try something. And again, at this time, I had no help. I didn't know how to TIG weld.
Yeah.
Everything I was doing was
Watching somebody else,
Yeah,
yeah.
like either YouTube, and sometimes just watching somebody you're not going to learn everything.
No,
There's
correct.
tricks and everything unless they're telling you what they're doing.
Yeah, they're with you right there. It's like, hey, try this.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
not just that, it's to the point of your tungsten stick out,
Yeah.
what tungsten you're using, the cup size,
Yeah.
all that matters. when you're first getting into it, you're excited. You're just like, okay, this comes with it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna use what it comes with,
yeah.
right? Oh well, why my welds not colorful?
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason,
Gotcha.
right?
So now, the first piece you ever sold, right? Was it for sale? Were you already making decent enough quality to say, okay, I think I can sell this? Or was it someone just kind of passed by, however that happened, saw it and go like, hey, you sell that?
Actually, it was a friend. It was a friend that said, hey, my dad wants something sort of like this. Do you think you could put that on metal? And I was like, I could try. And I tried and sold that. Yeah, that was
Okay.
my first piece.
How was that feeling? Did that trigger something? You're like, whoa, if it paid,
Yeah.
I can
It
start
was.
selling some.
Yeah.
So how was that?
How did it start?
Yeah,
Or
how
was
did
the
that
feeling?
feel? Yeah.
Oh, it felt amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you, after you sold that one,
Then I was just like gung ho, let's go.
really?
Yeah. let's
So
get it.
how do you promote your art?
So it's through Instagram. It's hard.
Okay.
Because especially in this time, a lot of people don't have money to spend for art,
Correct.
or don't even want to. Like
Yeah.
there's other things.
They don't even understand it, especially when it's a difference when you are, let's say, seeing you live making something.
Mm-hmm.
There's more of a connection, where to buy through social media, sometimes like, oh, that's cool, but that's
Yeah.
as far as it gets, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't even appreciate the work that goes behind it because they
Correct.
have no clue.
Exactly.
The only people that actually know are people
Other
in the
welders,
industry,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Besides that, I've had people say, "Oh, I could get that done burned on wood for $30." I'm like, yeah, it's wood.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
like,
I can
is
go
it
to
gonna
the
look as
backyard and
cool?
find a piece. Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah, that is very, because most people, you're right. You know, if you're a welder, if you're at least you're in the industry, you kind of know like, oh well, it takes this, it takes that, the machine, the electrodes, the wire, the whatever it is that that you are making, whatever art you're making. Now, have you ever tried to make any other art with anything else other than TIG?
yeah, I did a stick weld art.
And how did that?
Turned out all right, actually,
Yeah?
which I'm gonna start pursuing.
Oh, really? So you
Yeah.
gotta kind of
Yeah,
grow
so-
the portfolio of
Yeah.
pieces. Yeah.
So I kind of trademarked my TIG art to the layered style, which
Gotcha.
I found that was nobody was ever doing that.
Okay.
And it just came to my mind. I was like, I could make this pop out.
Gotcha. Just kind of
Right.
like a 3D kind of thing, right?
So I was like, okay, let me try this. And at first it was
So you kind of just stacking.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so I'll have a background,
Yeah.
and then I'll put something in the foreground, and
Okay.
if multiple things if it need
Got
be
it.
or whatever, right?
Let's say a plate, 12 by 12, 16 by 16, whatever. One of your most regular designs. How long does that take you normally?
Well, I don't have a regular design.
Okay.
So most of my stuff is. Before we go any further, actually, because you had asked me how do I sell my art.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not through Instagram.
Okay.
I do a lot of my like talking about it.
Yeah.
But if I go to a restaurant, I go to the gas station. It doesn't matter, the supermarket, and I see somebody with a Blue Jays hat, for instance.
Yeah.
Hey man, you want that on stainless steel?
Okay.
And I'll show them what it looks
Yeah, right.
like what I've done before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that looks pretty neat. You know what? Yeah, I'll take one.
So now you've learned not only just to be a welder and create art, now you have learned how to become a salesman
So,
as
yeah.
well, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much 24/7.
So got it. That is cool. Do you go to like farm shows? Is there anything like that here in Canada? Like
There
the
is.
fairs and stuff like that?
So I just recently started. I did my first show. It was a car show,
Okay.
and prior to that, I was going with a company called Canada Welding Supply. Who
Okay.
you know.
Got it.
Matt brought me on. The first time was Fab Tech,
Okay.
and after that, he said he had. It's a big car show called Motorama we have in Canada.
Okay.
And it's all different kinds of monster trucks, cars, old cars,
Yeah.
bikes. So it's like, hey, do you want to come on with us at our booth?
Yeah.
Because we think you'd attract people to
Yeah.
our booth. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I did that, and then you know who Joseph Gass is?
Yeah, of course.
They gave me a contract as well.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, this is cool, you know.
All right.
And then just this year in March, I had the opportunity to do my own booth. So I had my own setup.
Okay.
which was fun.
Yeah.
A lot of
Now,
work.
are you actually doing stuff live there or no?
No, I would love to, but like at a car show, they don't have that like
Set up.
Fab Tech where you can
Gotcha.
rent.
So you just
the
bring a lot of the
space.
pieces that you have.
Yeah, so I
done
had pre-made stuff
Okay.
and just brought them.
Now,
hung
do
them
you
up.
do pre-made stuff based on that specific genre, or
Yeah,
like, or kind
so
of,
because I knew I was going to a car show,
Okay.
I did a bunch of car emblems, like all
Gotcha.
the popular ones,
Okay,
right?
all
so
right.
I welded a bunch of those and made like keychains or to hang off the rear view mirror.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That's awesome. Now, that shows happen what, once a year?
Yeah, it happens once a year, but that was the first time I even knew about it.
Yeah.
And that was because I went to Motorama actually.
Gotcha.
And I met one of the guys there that hosts the show.
Okay, one of
He's
the
like, "Hey."
organizers or something?
Yeah. So he sent me an email. I was like, "Hey, do you want to be a vendor?" I was like, "That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot."
Yeah, no, definitely promoting yourself, your art, and going to all these things, that's the only way that you can break that seal,
Yeah.
right? Because, I mean, social media is great for a specific section of the world, but, that right here, we've talked about this before, you still have to go promote person to person. And
Yeah.
now, so how much welding do you actually do? Are you actually trying to do something every weekend for yourself, like on your art, or you actually take some time off now?
So I was every weekend just to kind of keep myself into it.
Okay.
I haven't in I'd probably say it in a couple of months.
Really?
Yeah. So
Huh.
now I'm at the point where I'm trying to find customers that like, okay, it's good, it's a sold. I'm gonna do it. I don't want to kind of
Gotcha.
waste
So by
time.
piece, custom piece, yeah.
Because I was finding I was making pieces which I thought would be cool, people would want, and it would take me forever to sell them. And now I have this whole collection of stuff that nobody wants.
No, that's the thing. We are all different. What's cool for you might not be cool for me. So
it,
when
yeah.
you make something, it's like, oh, that's awesome, but yeah, not for my house.
Right.
Because that's not my vision. That's
Yeah.
not my thing.
Yeah.
But I think it goes. But that still is a nice portfolio for you to have and say,
And that's why I did it, was because I figured at the end, maybe if I have a show, these
Yeah.
are stuff I could show people. This is what
Correct.
it looks like. You can have something. Send me an image. I'll put it on metal.
yeah, no, for the show, it's definitely that you need to. Now, do you think you can actually place any image into?
I've done some.
Well, what's the most difficult one you've done that you think of? That, man, this was a pain in the ass.
Well, the one that was a pain in the ass wasn't the most difficult one.
Okay, all right. So explain.
So I had to do it 4 times.
You had to
And
do these specific things
I
4
lost
times.
money on that one. Yeah.
All right.
Maybe somebody can help me with this. We'll
So what
figure
was
this out.
it?
So it was for Tatted Cat.
Okay.
She's a painter.
Yeah.
Really cool chick. She asked, hey, she saw my stuff on Instagram.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, I'd really like if you could make me one. I was like taken back because I
All
think
right.
actually she was the first person from Instagram to actually
Reach out and say
ask
that I want to pay for
yeah,
something.
It's not where I was reaching out to people
Gotcha.
trying to sell it.
All right.
She actually came to me, so I was like, wow, okay,
Yeah.
I'm taken back right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
right? I was like, definitely. So for me, it had to be perfect.
Okay.
And now, not just because she reached out.
Yeah.
All my pieces.
Exactly.
They have to be perfect, or they don't go out.
Yeah.
If I finish the whole piece and I get a little scratch on there, guess what? It's
Yeah.
getting redone.
Gotcha.
So where I've seen other people where you can see scuff
Oh,
marks.
that's
and-
part of the imperfection, right?
yeah, no. For me, it's got to look like it came out of.
Yeah.
It's an art piece.
Correct,
So
yeah.
there's no imperfections.
Okay.
So I started with hers. It was in the summer. Now I'm not sure if because the humidity or what, but before I started, I heated up the plate anyway, so it
Yeah,
took
yeah.
off all the moisture.
Correct. Yeah.
And every time I TIG welded her logo, the colors would just not come out. Like they would turn really funky.
Okay.
So first I thought maybe it was the metal was contaminated.
Yeah.
Okay, got another piece. I let her know, hey, it's gonna take a little bit.
Yeah.
I gotta redo it. And I posted that on social media, and everybody's like, oh, what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
And like, I don't like it.
No,
Like, it's not
yeah.
what I envisioned
Correct,
for it
exactly.
to come out. First off, so it's not going out. So the second piece I got, it turned out okay. When I went to heat color the frame, it would not take color. I don't know. I don't know why I'm still boggled till today. I've
Really?
talked to a bunch of people about it,
And they still
I
don't know
can't. So
either.
if anybody out there knows and can reach out, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's weird. So, yeah, well, right, okay.
So in the winter, I can color a frame with the heat, and you'll get the purple, the gold.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
comes out beautiful. For
the
some reason,
summer?
in the summer, that was done in the summer. I haven't tried it again.
Yeah.
But specifically in the summer, I had to do that 4 times, and even the fourth frame still wouldn't turn out. I think I might have ended up painting that frame.
Well, maybe you have to do it now inside a restaurant cooler. You know.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, like, hey, can I use your freezer? I need to make this thing, and it's summer, right? Yeah. Interesting. So it wasn't the hardest, but it was the one that was
Most
a pain.
yeah.
Just because
Yeah.
of whatever, it wasn't working.
Yeah.
What's the biggest one you've ever done?
The biggest one I've done,
Like size-wise, like, you know, it was
that
a
would be
30
the
by
first
30.
one that I did.
Oh.
It was probably about, actually, no, I lied. I did one for a company called NDT Tint, and that was about 30 inches long.
Gotcha. Now, do you normally, do you do that at your house, or you have a setup at your house, or how do?
So, like I told you before, when I first started TIG welding, it was at work, right?
Okay.
And again, so when I got into all this, and I started to get decent, now I'm in a place where there's a lot of dirt and the background looks like crap. So even when I'm filming, it's like
Right.
you're just in this,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't
Yeah.
look appealing sort
Got
of thing.
it.
But I have to make
So you might think, but a lot of people also connect with the organic and like, hey, he's just like me, you know.
Yeah, true.
So it's a combination of things. You know, if you're trying to appeal to the, oof, you know, what the hell? But if it's most of us out there, like, oh, that's cool. I'm doing this in my kitchen. Who cares? You know.
Yeah.
So
So I guess I was just going after where you see all these Instagrammers or got the posters everywhere and, you know, all the
so some of them still
sponsorships
live with
and-
their mom. I'm just kidding.
So I was like, oh man, like I don't have that. You see all this scrap metal here, work pieces there, and it's like, for me, I thought, okay, people are not going to be appealed by this,
Yeah.
right? So that's where I first started.
Gotcha.
And then I was getting a little bit too much work for work.
Gotcha.
And at first, our agreement was, we're not paying you the greatest. We know that.
Yeah.
So
But we're gonna give
here's
you
your
that freedom
side.
to
Do your side stuff
Yeah.
out of here and no
call it
worries
even,
about
yeah.
it. But it got to a point where I was getting more work, and then one of the bosses like, oh, you seem to be, you know, doing a lot of stuff here. You might have to start paying for this spot. And I was like, well, that defeats the purpose of my pay
Correct.
not being the
Yeah.
best, right? I said, okay, no
I'll do
problem.
this, but then this has to.
So I said, okay, no problem. Didn't say anything to him. So I started moving everything out little by little, and I got my garage set up. My garage was a mess because, again, my dad was a mechanic, and I started to learn how to repair my own cars. So
Gotcha.
I don't like taking my cars to the mechanic. I just,
Okay. Yeah.
I guess it's a trust thing.
Yeah. Well, it's a trust and money thing. Both. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like things done a certain way.
Yeah.
I'm very, again, that word, I just can't figure out what that word is.
Consistent.
No, it's
Meticulous.
meticulous could be one of the where, you know, if I take out this bolt from this
Yeah.
this spot, that
has to
same
go.
bolt's got to go there. It's something to do with
Yeah.
with that. But anyway, so that's my whole issue is when I work on my cars too. It's like,
anal.
yeah, whatever. But it's everything's got to be fit the same way how
Gotcha.
it came out, sort of thing.
Okay.
I don't like when you take it to a mechanic. They just take everything, throw it in a container, and then put it back.
If you get lucky, put it back. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
'Cause sometimes like I have an extra piece. Oh well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
No, I get it. So that's interesting. But yeah, you know that whole thing of trying to connect with everyone. I've always said the people that connect with you are actually the people that you want them to connect with you. Once that's done, who cares, right? We were not going to connect either or. So now, where would you like to see yourself in the next 5 years? Short, you know, that's even a short, not long, just somewhere in between.
So I started the business hoping to grow it.
Okay.
I would really like to do the art full time if I can, just
Okay.
like some of the other people I see doing
Gotcha.
it. Right now doesn't seem to be in the 5-year mark, but
Okay.
I'm pushing.
Yeah, yeah.
So it
Yeah.
could.
Yeah,
If
hey,
I
you
get the
know,
right people, right customers,
that's it.
there's no reason why I can't. But
Exactly. Exactly. Now, so that's great. And definitely, like you said, there's nothing that really can stop you. Who knows, right? It could be next week that something just comes in and
Yeah.
you're going to make all this art for us and blah, 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 right? How did you get so many followers in your Instagram? Like, when did that go like, oh, steady grow, steady, slow, and then out of the blue just went boop, 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 boop?
Yeah, so honestly, I don't even know. Like, I didn't even. So I got asked by Well.com to be a host.
Correct,
I
yes.
turned them down because I was just like, I'm nobody to be on that, because they were looking for hosts that maybe could teach someone something. I was like, I don't fit into that.
Gotcha.
I'm not
okay.
a teacher.
So you know
I don't
what your
know
strengths
anything.
are, and that was not one of your strengths.
Not strength. I was just kind of saying to myself that, who am I to teach anybody anything?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
so maybe I was kind of telling myself I'm not good enough to be on
Okay.
there. And I said it to Vess. I said, hey, like, I just don't see myself. I see, like, all the hosts you guys have, they've
Yeah.
been to school, they've got
Yeah.
certificates
The technical
coming out of their
things,
yin
right?
yang,
Yeah.
right? I was like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
I'm self-taught. I don't know what I could bring to the table. And she said to me, that right there, a lot of the people going to be watching this are people like you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. So I said no for the longest time. They bugged me. I was like, okay, you know what? I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
So went from there. And then I kind of start to see my followers grow. But again, a lot of it seemed to be bought, like fake scam.
Oh, really?
And I get a lot of messages.
That's part of it, yeah.
Yeah, I
It
get a lot
comes
of
with the
messages
territory,
saying,
yeah.
like, we could use you for this. And you kind of get excited at first not knowing.
Correct, right?
And you're like, oh, okay, cool.
They're
you
looking
start,
at me, yeah.
You start talking to them, and it's like, okay,
One of you.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
right? So then I just kind of started noticing more of a trend that way.
Gotcha.
But to tell you the truth, so there was a guy named Garrett that was on Well.com,
Mm-hmm.
and he would always look at my followers for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, always.
Like
For me-
what kind of followers?
No.
Or just the overall number?
The number.
Okay.
For me, it didn't really matter. I didn't really care because I'm here to
Yeah.
have fun.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't really care who isn't following. If you like what I'm doing, hey.
Great.
For me, if I talk to most of my followers that I talk to, like, I actually feel like we're friends.
Yeah.
There's a connection. A lot of people I actually message on a daily. I'll send videos on a daily.
Yeah.
I've never met them a day in my life, but they feel like we're friends. Like, we connect.
It happens.
So it got to that point where, okay, it started to get more and more people joining.
Yeah, yeah.
People more interested in. And then I was also on a podcast for Cerrone, Max.
Yeah,
Cerrone.
yeah, Max Cerrone,
And that
CWB,
kind of
yeah.
blew it up a little bit more,
Okay.
and people hearing my story. And
Gotcha,
again,
yeah.
I'm sure I'm going to get more followers off this.
Well, I don't know. Maybe my mom, the one that watches this, will follow you too. Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically how it went. And I never ever look at the number. That's the thing
Gotcha.
for me. For me, my whole thing was I'm trying to keep my theme 666.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because I feel bad that I can't follow people back. But I always send them a message.
What do you
saying-
mean that you can follow people back?
So my following, I'm trying to keep my theme.
Oh, I see.
666. So
I know what
once
you
I hit
mean.
that number, it was like, okay, it's rude not to follow them back. Like, I feel bad.
Yeah.
But I always send a message saying, hey, man, this is my thing. I'm trying to keep the theme. If you want to follow, follow. If you don't, by all means. Like, if you want to follow
I
back,
had never noticed that, and now you guys know. If you guys follow the Tig and he doesn't follow you back, there's a reason for it. All right.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be rude or nothing like that. I'm not trying to.
Don't
my
unfollow
head's
just
big.
because of that.
Yeah.
Unfollow him because of something else, but not that. Yeah.
So I have a message saying, like, unfortunately right now I can't follow you on this account, but I give them the follow back on my Destructive Asylum 13
Yeah,
account.
which I just saw that the other day. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I didn't know about that one.
So at least they're still getting that follow back if that's what they care. you
So
know?
the main one is the Tig Devil.
Actually, the main one was Destructive Asylum 13. That's what I started with.
Okay,
Yeah, that was my first page.
gotcha. and then you opened
Tig Devil.
Tig Devil,
Yeah.
and that's the one that has
All the art.
blown up, right?
Yeah.
And then, what's the name of the first one again? I'm sorry.
Destructive Asylum 13.
Okay, so that's the one that people can also follow, where he
Yep.
can follow you. All right, there you go. So just follow the other one for content, and you guys know how this works. So cool. Well, I want to, we're almost done, but I want to say a couple of things. Since I met you in Tampa, and you were there just with someone supporting someone else and all that, and I know how these whole ambassador and things and just get sponsored, and also you all have to take advantage of those things, because you never know tomorrow, right? So just grow your brand, your personal brand, and I think you're doing good at it. And yeah, it's a slow process. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow, but just being exposed, that's all it takes. Just being exposed, be out there. But very approachable. You're a cool guy. Definitely. I can see the appeal. Beyond what my people. It's like, oh, this guy, is he mean? Is he not mean? Like, what's, 'cause, again,
I get that all the time.
I know. So I get it. Like, I can see that happening, but I can tell you now, getting to talk to you a few times, getting to see you at different shows. Our story is very similar. And definitely, I thank you very much for saying yes to taking.
I appreciate you
on a
asking.
Sunday.
I was actually taken back when you asked me. I was like, "Oh wow, I got asked to be on Torch Tales.
Yeah.
Like, this is something else."
On a Sunday, Father's Day, he's taking time from his personal day off to just drive an hour and meet me here halfway from where I'm at. So that means a lot for me. So definitely, I thank you, and I know I'm going to be seeing you a lot more everywhere, because that's just the way it works. And I think, are you gonna go to FabTech Orlando?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, so that's the next time we're gonna see each other. So is there anything else that you would like to share that I haven't asked you that you think is important for us to know?
Yeah, I want to say, so I've noticed a lot of people think I got here over a night.
Yeah.
That's not the case. I've spent a lot of money, like
Yeah.
you said, going to the shows,
Yeah.
showing face,
Your own money. Yeah.
stickers. This is the smallest thing.
I know,
stickers.
right? People think, just shirts, the stickers, you name it.
Everybody's
creating that
like,
brand.
"Hey, can I get a sticker? Can I get a sticker?" So it's sticker plus shipping.
Yeah.
Nobody ever thinks about that. They're like,
right.
So, for me to get known, I was always like, okay, here, I'm gonna ship out my stickers. People are gonna have it.
Yeah.
They're gonna post it, tell other friends.
Correct.
So I spent money that way. Not just that, it was like then shirts, giveaways, things like that. And I've had people unfollow me because I've gotten too big in their minds. And I was like, this is crazy. You supported me when I was nothing.
That earlier off camera, and yeah, that's crazy. But hey, to each his own, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could put your mind to anything. You got to put that work in. You put that work in, you're gonna go far.
Well, could not have said that better. Thank you, guys. Thank you again.
Thank you.
It really means a lot, brother.
Yeah. It was a pleasure.
You're doing great things, and this is why I consider myself so lucky. I get to travel, perk. I get to go to restaurants and this and that, perk. But beyond all of that, it's just getting to know people like Diesel here. Definitely, I'm grateful for the industry, grateful for what I do, and grateful that I get friends of the industry to keep saying yes to just being here on whatever this is. We're still trying to figure out what Torch Tales is, but in the meantime, I'm having fun, I'm digging it, and if you guys keep watching, I'm just gonna keep pumping these episodes. Thank you guys. I'll see you somewhere else with somebody else, because that's how this works. Peace.